For years, people thought the story of cars was already decided, that Tesla had won and no one else could take the lead. Every headline and news show said the future was only electric. But then Honda shocked everyone. They brought back a name tied to freedom, youth, and pride in the 1980s and 90s, Prelude. For many, just hearing it recalls late-night drives, radios loud, windows down, and life wide open. The Prelude was more than a car. It was a symbol of youth and being alive. When Honda ended it in the early 2000s, many thought it gone forever. But now it returns, at a time when drivers are questioning the electric dream. Charging delays, range fears, and high prices frustrate many. People want freedom, not limits. Honda saw the cracks and chose a different path. They built a hybrid, smooth electric power backed by gas security and wrapped it in the classic Prelude. It is the past meeting the future. Honda is saying, "We remember what thrilled you behind the wheel, and we know how to get you there today." Tesla may sit on top, but crowns fall, and Prelude proves nothing is set in stone. Looking at history, Honda itself was once an underdog. In the 1940s and 50s, it built tiny engines and motorcycles for a rebuilding Japan. They were light, cheap, dependable. Machines that started every morning and survived city streets and rough roads. By the 1960s, Honda was the world's biggest motorcycle maker. Success sparked bigger dreams, and the company set its sights on cars. Most doubted them. The global market was dominated by Ford, General Motors, Volkswagen, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Fiat. Honda seemed invisible, but they had grit and a formula. Build cars that were reliable, affordable, and bold. The breakthrough came in the 1970s with the Civic. Timing was perfect. Gas prices rose, oil shocks spread, and Americans reconsidered what cars they wanted. Big engines and bulky sedans felt impractical. Families needed smaller, efficient cars that were easy to drive and maintain. The Civic fit perfectly, reliable, maneuverable, efficient. For many in North America, their first car was a Civic. It carried students, couples, and families everywhere. Not flashy, but trusted. It simply worked, and that trust made Honda a household name. Having proved itself a sensible car builder, Honda dared to be bolder. America's new car buyers wanted more than practicality. They wanted passion. Out of that desire came the Prelude. Launched in 1978, it was unlike any Honda before. Lower, sportier, with a sharp profile and long hood, it stood apart from the boxy cars of its day. It lacked the roaring power of expensive sports cars, but delivered something else: balance. The Prelude mixed fun, control, and affordability, making excitement accessible to ordinary people. It quickly became more than transportation. It became a cultural symbol. In the 1980s and 90s, if the Civic was the sensible choice, the Prelude was the exciting one. It was self-expression. Students parked them proudly, professionals cruised city streets at night, and teenagers covered walls with its posters. Driving a Prelude meant style, independence, and rebellion. By building it, Honda announced it was no longer just the maker of small family cars. It could stir emotion, make people fall in love with driving. The Prelude helped turn Honda from underdog to global icon. It built motorcycles, then Civics, then sporty coupes, but most importantly, it built trust. For families, Honda ownership wasn't just transportation. It meant joining something larger, reliable, and lasting. In the 1980s and 90s, the Prelude was more than another car. It was the dream machine of a generation wanting to stand out without spending a fortune. With its aerodynamic stance, smooth engine, and sporty feel, it looked fast even when still. It wasn't a hot rod, but it had what youth valued more than raw power: image. It was sporty looking, sporty driving, and full of personality. In a school lot or downtown on a Friday night, the Prelude turned heads. For many, owning one was a badge of honor. You hadn't just arrived at class or work, you had arrived at life. Those who grew up with it remember the smell of summer gas, the pulse of music on late-night drives, the pride of gripping its wheel. It wasn't only a machine, it was freedom, excitement, and possibility. Here was a company that promised to save not just the auto industry, but the planet itself. Electric cars were hailed as the clean answer to pollution, oil dependence, and rising fuel costs. For decades, people were told there was no alternative to gas, but Tesla took the stage and declared there was a better way. The idea of zero emissions was powerful. Imagine driving without pumping smoke into the sky, without rising gas costs, and without guilt about harming the planet. For many, this vision was more than exciting. It was inspiring. People believed they were part of something historic, a movement to change transportation forever. Governments, celebrities, and business leaders praised electric cars as the solution. At first, the hype felt unstoppable. Owning a Tesla wasn't just about mobility. It was a statement. Drivers saw themselves as pioneers of a smarter, greener future. Charging stations spread, ads boasted long ranges and quick acceleration, and Tesla became a cultural symbol. The dream looked flawless. Dreams, though, rarely match reality. As EVs spread, drivers noticed limits. Charging wasn't simple. Instead of 5 minutes at a pump, many waited 30 minutes or more at crowded stations. In winter, batteries drained quickly and promised range vanished. A new fear appeared: range anxiety. What if the battery died on a lonely road with no charger in sight? Gas drivers never faced that, but EV owners worried constantly. Then came cost. Teslas were expensive, and even with tax credits, families found them out of reach. After the high price came upkeep, battery replacements, software updates, rising electric bills. It felt less like freedom and more like obligation. Gradually, cracks spread. People applauded emission-free cars, but harder questions grew louder. If electricity came from coal, how green were they? What about disposal of used batteries? Could infrastructure ever keep up with millions of cars? Tension mounted. Some stayed loyal to the electric dream, but many looked for balance. They wanted green tech, but with backup. They wanted freedom, not confinement. Suddenly, hybrids, once mocked as compromises, looked wise. They offered the thrill of electric drive without the terror of going dry. Tesla's rise proved what was possible. Its flaws showed no solution fits everyone. The future of driving wasn't one extreme replacing another, but a middle ground where freedom and responsibility meet. And into that uncertain landscape, another name prepared to return, quietly, patiently, strategically. Honda hadn't drowned markets with failed prototypes or grand speeches. It simply watched. Critics called it weakness, but inside Honda, the silence was deliberate. Sometimes in a crowded room, the smartest move is to listen. Honda knew something many forget. Hype fades, but trust lasts. Over decades, it built a reputation for reliable, affordable, efficient cars. Unlike startups that survived on headlines, Honda didn't need to gamble on bold promises. It could wait, observe, and prepare. While Tesla, Ford, and GM chased the spotlight, Honda invested quietly in research. It studied batteries, hydrogen, and hybrids. It partnered with suppliers, strengthened factories, and tested new ideas without shouting. Honda understood rushing out an unproven car could backfire. Customers forgive delays, not broken promises. Patience wasn't flashy, but it was smart. Others burned money. Honda learned from their failures: overheated batteries, weak performance, collapsed networks. Like a chess player, it waited for the right move. At the same time, Honda nurtured its strength: hybrids. While others debated full electric vehicles, Honda kept refining the middle ground. Engines became smoother, more efficient, more practical. Not perfect, but real, affordable, and available. For many drivers, that mattered more than visions. And culturally, Honda's patience fit. In Japan, precision matters more than speed. Engineers released cars only when ready, not to match a marketing calendar. This discipline sometimes made Honda look slow, but when it moved, it delivered. By the early 2020s, as electric vehicle skepticism grew, Honda's quiet looked less like weakness and more like wisdom. Others faced failed promises. Honda stayed steady, reliable, careful, consistent. In a world of haste, it proved the strength of patience. That patience was leading somewhere, toward a rebirth no one expected: Prelude. At first, hybrid sounds complex, but the 2026 Prelude makes it simple. 2 hearts in one car. One is a gasoline engine Honda has perfected for decades. The other is an electric motor, silent yet powerful. They work side by side, sometimes alone, sometimes together, giving over 200 horsepower. The numbers matter less than the feel. Instant torque throws you back, while the gas engine roars with that classic Honda sound. The blend of silence and growl revives joy while still offering 20 to 22 kilometers per liter. Unlike electric vehicles that require planning around chargers, the Prelude provides Tesla-like punch with gas backup. It is freedom, confidence, and soul. The 2026 Prelude proves progress is not about choosing one side, it is about balance. Why does the 2026 Honda Prelude matter beyond just one launch? Because it connects with feelings and realities that cross continents, and every region sees something different in it. In the United States and Canada, many drivers feel Tesla fatigue. Early excitement has turned into worries about range, cost, and charging delays. The Prelude offers a middle path: electric torque with gas backup, freedom without fear. For families, That practicality may matter more than being first to go fully electric. In Europe, strict green rules meet the reality of long highway drives. Full electric vehicles shine in cities but struggle on hours of high-speed travel. A hybrid like the Prelude delivers efficiency for regulators and confidence for drivers. In Asia, the story grows deeper. In Japan, the Prelude is nostalgia, freedom and pride in a homegrown icon. In India and Southeast Asia, where charging networks and electricity are patchy, hybrids mean progress without risk. Across China, South Korea, and Indonesia, rising middle classes want style, efficiency, and dependability, all checked by the Prelude. Zoom out, and the impact ripples wider. Oil demand steadies, governments slow all-electric mandates, and drivers feel balance restored. The Prelude is more than a comeback, it is a global signal. So here we are, not just at the return of one car, but at what that return means for the world. The Prelude's comeback in 2026 is more than nostalgia or horsepower. It is about second chances, timing, and the human need for freedom. Step back and a bigger picture unfolds. For 20 years, we were promised an all-electric future, zero emissions, endless range, 5-minute charging. But reality brought broken stations, fading batteries, and costs that put dreams out of reach. Slowly, people realized technology must serve life, not the other way around. That is why the Prelude matters. It bridges the gap between what we hoped for and what we can actually use. In North America, it brings relief to drivers weary of waiting at chargers. In Europe, it balances green laws with real travel needs. In Asia, it stirs nostalgia while solving fuel and power gaps. And across the globe, it whispers that progress can be practical, that balance is wisdom, not weakness. Prelude itself means a beginning. Maybe this return is not just a comeback, but a doorway, proving the future of driving belongs to balance and to joy. Thank you for watching.